In an earlier post, when we went away, I got a half bushel of apples. It wasn't even $10, but they were all the Golden Delicious. Now, they're not really the best for making pie, but I'm gonna make a pie. And I left them big. I cut them up the other day, threw some cinnamon sugar on them. They just have a little juice in the bottom. I'll have to drain that, but I'm gonna use these. I mean, I made applesauce already. I gave some apples away. We've been eating them like crazy. There's a lot of apples. So I wanted to show you a couple things though about how we make crust, because I think that's the biggest setback why people don't make good crust. They use the refrigerated kind, but I don't object to making those, but like to using them. I mean, I use them for quiche, you know, that kind of thing. But making homemade crust, if you get the hang of it, it's easy and it's delicious. I wanted to show you something. I showed you this before. The Jones Sisters collection of family favorites. My sister Carol, she's the eldest out of 7 of us. She put this together. It was 1981. And I know that because we were at on my mom's steps, us girls, and my brother-in-law Frank took this picture of us for the cookbook. Now, it's not the best picture in the world, but we like it. This is my sister Carol, and this is Peggy. There's Donna and Beverly and me. And the reason I know that is because I was pregnant right there with Lindsay, and in fact, Beverly was pregnant with Hallie. So I know the year. Anyway, in this cookbook, we have the pie crust recipe. It's the Never Fail pie crust. You may have seen it. You may have heard me talk about it, but it has a little bit of maybe odd ingredients if you're not familiar. But trust me, my aunts, plural, owned restaurants in the Pittsburgh area. And in fact, Aunt Pauline used to make about, I think it was 15 pies every morning, and they were giant. They were like huge, like coconut cream and all these different ones. She would cut it in 6, not 8. The picture how big that is. And the pies would sell out by about 10:30. Anyway, we all use this pie crust recipe. And it has some odd ingredients that you might not realize. It has a tablespoon of vinegar, and it has an egg. Do you taste either one of these? Absolutely not. It's just a chemical reaction with this. Believe me, it's, otherwise it's just flour and a little tablespoon of sugar though in there. But this helps it roll out so nice. I forget what the egg does, but believe me, I'm putting it in. And then you use ice water, and you can use it. You can do this, I guess, any pie crust recipe in your food processor. But, I just never did it like that. So one other thing I want to show you. When I got back from Amish country with Thane, I saw this in the store. Okay. I had to buy it. I'm like, I gotta buy that. But, oh, and it says, did you know lard is popular choice for many paleo, Whole30, and carb-conscious recipes? I guarantee if you've had pie in a diner, especially years ago, maybe not now, but trust me, in bakeries, this is what they used. It's 100%. And as we talk about on the wedding cooking community on Facebook, Crisco, it's changed. It's changed. Everybody's cookies turn out flat and different and this and that. That was during one presidential administration, and I won't name the name, that they changed things. They're bossing us around how to eat and how to drink. You can't have a giant soda anymore in New York City. Oh, you know what? People aren't stupid. They're just going to buy 2 of them instead of a giant big gulp or whatever it was called. You can't do that to us. If we want to have pie once in a while, dang it, we're going to have pie. And I'm going to have good pie because this is what I'm using instead of the Crisco, because it has changed my humble opinion. So let's get going. Okay, let's get this party started. We're going to go with 4 cups of flour. This is AP regular flour. You don't really have to stiff it, but I do what I call fluffing. I just fluff it up, a little bit. Okay. And then you want to just gently put it in. And of course, level it. Oops, can you see that? I leveled it. I'll level it like that. Okay, let's just do one. Look at my old Tupperware bowl that I'm putting this in. You guys have an old bowl that you've had 100 years? That's 2. I actually sold Tupperware before when I was young and had my own apartment. 3. And then I think I sold it again later. Yeah, later I did too. Okay, that's 4 cups. Okay, put that to the side. And then we're gonna do a tablespoon of sugar. Of course, I don't have the sugar. I have everything else out. Everything else out. And got my little mini sugar that I keep down here. We're gonna use a tablespoon for that. Tablespoon. No lumps, please. Get her off of there. Okay, that's 1. We're gonna use a little bit of salt in here too. So I have my regular table salt, although this is fine sea salt. I like sea salt. Okay, so that's 1 and 2 teaspoons. Okay, get that in there. And now, I'm gonna show you something. This is the lard or shortening, okay? But we're gonna get, oh no, I'll put that in now. Let's put that in now, that's right. We can go in order. Oh, goodness. Fort Knox here. Are you kidding? I'm gonna need a fork anyway, so let me just try and... There's a right tool for this, surely, you know? Looks a little different. I can worry about this later. Scarlet. There. Okay. Now, what I do when I have to measure, it's 3/4 of a cup. I wet this first. I totally wet this first. Let's see if this lighting is better like that. Is it better? I'm going to take a really close look at this. Wait. Turn it on. I don't know. Is it glaring? Don't mind me. I think I like this better. Let's do it like this. So anyway, 3/4 of a cup. I kind of can just scooch it in there. Why, look at that. Not too bad. And when I wet this, it seems to come out nicer. Look. See, you know how you have to fight with it? Let's put that right in the middle. So 4 cups of flour, a tablespoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 3/4 of a cup of shortening. And I like this particular little pastry cutter. Sometimes, you know, it's worth it to invest in a little tool if you're gonna use it all the time. I've had this one so long. So what I do is I don't just hit the shortening first. I know these are dumb little tips and you probably know them all, but if you don't, or if you already know them, be patient because somebody might not know. And that's what this little demo is about, right? So what I do is I put flour on top of it so it doesn't stick as much. Now it's still gonna stick, but it won't stick as much. I kind of roll it around, okay? And then, you know, you have to fight it a little bit. Of course, anything worth tasted like good pie crust is gonna be worth it. And I just do this. It's just little action here. And sooner or later it comes together. Some people saying it looks like peas. I say it just looks like pie crust is ready. Okay, and get that 3/4 of a cup of shortening. Make sure it's all the way in there. And once in a while, just like your mixer, you have to do this to it. You know, get that shortening off. Get it back down in there. No biggie. We're almost done. Get going, get going. And then we'll put our liquid in, and that's when it'll all ball and come together. This will make 2 pie crust rollouts, or enough for 1 pie with a top. So bottom crust and a top crust. This will make for both. It's starting to come together. See little sections, but just go around the horn and do this. When you add the liquid, you try not to fuss with it too much, just until it's together. In fact, I usually have some flour in the bottom and I don't even worry about it. It turns out fine. And then you wrap it in plastic, the 2 little discs, I call them, or, you know, little circles. And what happens is you put them in the fridge for, I don't know if it's 20 minutes or not. I really don't know. But it keeps in the refrigerator for a while. Actually, this can be frozen too once you get your pie together. Oh, that's almost ready, right? Just so there's no big clumps. And then clean off your little pastry cutter. You can do this with a fork. I remember when I didn't have one of these, you use a fork or two, like that. Okay, so that's close enough. Now this is the neat part. Ahead of time, what I did was I got ice water. Now I only need, I don't need all this ice water. I just need a half a cup. But I got all the ice cubes, and so it's really, really cold. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get a bowl for this. Get this bowl. We're gonna put a half a cup of the ice water. No ice cubes, please. In here. We're gonna get our egg in. Okay, I am gonna mix this up a little first, so pop that, get that mixed up. I don't want to put my vinegar in until this is mixed. Okay, that's mixed. Now, white vinegar. And we only need a tablespoon. Vinegar is amazing. Where did I put my tablespoon? There it is. Remember I used it for the sugar? So I'm gonna do this. 1 tablespoon, and mix that up into the ice water. Bring this back. And then just pour it in all at once. But I go all the way around. I try not to hit the edges. Okay. I tend to use my hand, but at first I just use my fork and I go around like this, just a little bit, okay, just to get it wet. Oh, it's coming together. Like I said, there'll be flour left, okay? Now I am going to use my favorite tool in the kitchen, my hand. Yes, I wash my hands. And what I'm going to do is just kind of push it onto each other like that. If you overwork any kind of pastry dough, that's when it gets tough. It's not tender anymore, okay? I can feel a little bit of cool liquid in there. So I know it's not ready yet. It's not coming together in a ball at all, okay? You can use this part of your finger too. I'll do that to get it away from the sides a little. So I think some of the water went there. Now, everything that I do kind of on these is kind of slow motion. My sister Beverly says, I cook everything on high and I cook really fast. Well, I do, but not when I'm demoing something, you know? So we've made pie crusts so many times in our family. I'm gonna use both hands. And I'm just pressing down like this, like press down, just to get the little crumbles. That we kind of know the recipe offhand, you know, off by heart. So, almost ready. I'm like at a weird angle. I have to tippy toe. I have my slippers on. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pinch it in two. See that? I'm going to pinch it in two because it's going to make 2 discs. Okay, and pull that apart. And mostly it's together, but of course there's going to be some stuff in the bottom. I can't reach this for some reason. You don't need a mat, but they help. Now, again, I'm going to be gentle and kind of just get it shaped in a disc because that's how you're going to end up. And I put my finger here, look at like that, okay? That's how it's going to be. It's really crumbly this time. Maybe it's the Lord. It's a little bit different than when I use my Crisco, but basically make it look like a little hamburger. Like this. See, it's like a little hamburger. And then we're going to set that one to the side and wrap it in plastic. I'm going to get this one out. See how I left some? I don't really care. It's not a big deal. Okay. And again, not too rough on it. See how I'm doing my finger up there? That's how I make hamburgers. That's how I make my Salisbury steaks, so that they aren't like not to the side, you know, they're staying in like that. So there's another little pie pastry disc. Let's get these wrapped in plastic wrap. Get this out of the road. I need my bench scraper for that. I have several kinds of pie plates. Like this one is this depth, and this one's bigger. See how it's bigger? So I'm going to use the large one because those apples are huge. I'll just do this part and then we'll wait the 20 minutes or so, okay? And then the 20 minutes, what you want to do is clean up. Oops. Come on, you. Okay. Get this one in. And just wrap it so it's protected. Nothing fancy there. Like that. And then you can even do this a little bit more too. Okay. Do you see how I can lift my plastic wrap straight up? I'm sure you know it by now. But there's these little holes on the side that you press in when you get a new one. And that's why it can hold in. See? It holds it in, doesn't pop up. In case you didn't know. But if you did, no harm, no foul, right? Okay, into the fridge. I'll wash the dough out of my fingernails. And I'll get these in the fridge. I should have mentioned when I clean up, I put everything in the big bowl. And I put a little dish soap in it and run this just in hot water. Because grease is like a bear to get off of things sometimes. So just put this down, you know, in the sink. And run some Dawn dishwashing liquid in it. Confession. It got too late last night to bake this pie. So the nice thing is the pie dough can rest in the refrigerator for a long, long time. Wanted to show you something as I'm unwrapping this. If you can see this real well. See the pockets of white in it? That would be the shortening. Sometimes if you make scones and use butter or whatever, you'll see that too. In other words, it's not fully blended. It's got little pockets of it, and that's what you want. That'll help make a flaky crust. So this is still a little cold. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes. Let's get a little flour on the board. Do you have one of these? I wore my other one out. It's just a sift flour, or you could just throw it on the board just how you like, okay? So I'm just gonna do this. You just give a little, it just makes it a little more even. I do both sides. You know, I have this down, and then I do some on here too. And just set it to the side. My rolling pin is a marble one. I didn't always have a marble one. I had a wooden one, but this is heavy. The idea is that it's heavy and it helps you with the rolling, okay? Do you remember the old Tupperware one? Some of you might still have it. Raise your hand to me if you do. You filled it with ice cubes and water. It was hollow, and one side would undo, and you could put water and ice cubes, or just all ice cubes in to keep it cold. And the marble is cold also. So that's the idea, to keep this all cold. Did you know that? This is still a little bit too hard to work with. So I'm going to turn off the camera and then I'll be back. Well, it definitely rolled out a little different. Let me get something here. And if you don't put enough flour on the bottom, it wants to stick a little. I wanted to show you that. See that? So I just do this. Okay, move it around. Some people roll the whole dough up, but this doesn't look how it usually does. Maybe it is the large, so I just at least just put it in half. Like I said, this is a big pie plate. Oops, I just cracked it more. So gently go around the horn. I'm not that worried about this crack because it just pinches back together. Big deal, you know? And I like a lot of crust up top because I love this crust. Now, there's some MIA here, but that's okay. Let me push that down. I had cut some off. See how it's sticking? I just don't want to have any holes. Okay, and I'm going to break that off and patch it up. Yeah, it didn't roll out as smooth, and I'm wondering, was it the lard instead of the regular shortening that I usually use? It's kind of thin here, so I'm going to put another little piece. I just had trimmed some off that it was crooked, but the top crust will then adhere to this, but I just want to make sure I have enough of it all the way around. So there's that. One thing I do like to do, I just gotta get the flour off the bottom because I end up doing that. It ain't pretty, but believe me, it'll taste good. These apples, again, sat overnight. And I have cinnamon sugar. I'm not a real fan of nutmeg in apple pie or brown sugar. I just like cinnamon sugar. So this little old-fashioned thing, watch, it only gives you one portion as you pour it. Ready? All right. And then it stops. Isn't that cool? All right. So I have to shake it. I'm going to give it a little bit more. I don't do lemon juice. I don't do, like I said, brown sugar or whatever. I might put a little bit of flour in it just because it helps. Because apples aren't as juicy as some fruit, but they are still juicy. So I'll put a little bit like that, stir it around. But one other thing that I like to do is put it on a cookie sheet of some kind and get this hot first, so that when I put this pie on, when it's all filled and the top crust is on, when I put this on, that bottom crust is going to start to bake before the apples can release their juice. So I look all the way around. This is a glass pie plate so I can see it, because you don't want a soggy bottom. Now there's ways to avoid that. You can use tapioca, you can do all this crazy stuff. But I'm telling you, back in the day, they didn't do all the lemon juice crap and stuff. They just had some good old apples and seasoned them up some way, and they baked them. And that's what I'm going to do. And this is another reason people don't take the time to make an apple pie. Is because, like, well, I don't have any nutmeg. I don't have allspice. Gee, you know, am I supposed to use tapioca? That's what the recipe says. Nah, I just use cinnamon sugar. And then my aunts always, well, my one aunt and my mom always put little dabs of butter on the top of the pie. So I might do that, but that's the extent of it. Let me roll out this other one. See if it's ready. But I gotta go turn off my TV. I gotta tell you, this is not the same kind of consistency that I'm used to. It's like, I don't know. And I guess I didn't wait long enough for it to get a little bit more warmed up. It's kind of cold, but look at how it's like broken apart. Here, let me move this, see? But that's okay. I'll figure it out. Just get the edges done. And if I get like a little bit on here, take that off, you know. You can put a little more flour on here so it doesn't stick. Just a little bit, like that. There we go. And I'll just piece it together. Like I said, this isn't like it's a pie for hire or something, you know. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these big pieces off like this. Just go around. Now, when I made the discs, remember when I made the disc and I said I do this with my thumb and I push it like the top? That was so that this didn't happen, but it didn't work so well. It, like, the discs should just roll out like this and not be all craggy. But again, it doesn't matter. So let's just do like this. Get out my way. I will put my apples in. And they're big. Yeah, usually I slice them down, but I'm not going to. Okay. They're really wet because they've been in the fridge for 2 days, but I'm going to put a little bit of flour on them and I'll arrange them a little better. Again, if I was making this for company or something, but guess who's not even going to eat it? My husband. He will not eat baked goods that I make at all. He doesn't like them. And it's like, when we got married, I said, you know, you have to taste the wedding cake. We have to exchange. He said, do I have to really? Like, does anyone care? I said, I care. Yes, you have to. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on it. And I have my oven heating up. get in there. You can put like 1 or 2 tablespoons in. And I'm gonna grab a little bit of butter, a couple little, not much. You don't have to do this. I don't even know if I always do this. I don't think I do. But this is the way my Aunt Alice always made her apple pie too. But I don't know that my aunts who in the restaurants did this. But let's get this on. Ooh, it's got a lot of flour on it in that part too. Just try and get it around the best you can. Oh, look at my hands. Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. Look, I was getting cinnamon on the top. So the idea is you want this to meet this. So I take this top crust and flip it under first. That's cinnamon in my nails. Don't mind me. Okay, I'm just going to go around and try and connect them because that's just an escape for your juice to run out. See, this is all mushed together. It's okay. And sometimes I'll even add these little pieces that are left. I'll add them on just because I like a great big crust. Now, they actually sell a couple things when you make pies, which I have neither of them. They have little pie birds, and when we were just in Amish country, they had all kind of cute ones in the pottery shop. And I walked in and I said, oh, look, pie birds. And, you know, I had to explain what they were to Thane. He doesn't bake. Okay. And the girl, I think she said something, she remarked, but she was surprised I knew what it was. And they actually sit down in and they look like their little beaks are up and they let the steam out. But we're going to put a slit in here to let the steam out because if the apple's in the condensation, you're going to get that soggy bottom again. But this is how I do my pinch. You ready? Can you see? I go like that. Now I'm gonna turn this camera. Maybe I do it this way. I don't know if you can see or not. But I just do my pinch like this. You could do it with a fork if you like. I think it looks like store-bought when it's in a fork. With a fork. You know, you do the fork, go like that. But you do you. I do me. And if you have a better way, yay! But some people might learn 1 or 2 little things. Okay? And now, if this was for Thane, I'd put a T. If it's for someone with an A, I make an A. But I'm just going to make some slits like this. Okay, do I brush the top with egg wash or milk? Maybe I'll do that. But in the meantime, yeah, in fact, I will. I'll brush it a little bit. And if the crust, the fluted part, if it gets too brown, there's a guard that goes around that they sell. It's old-fashioned, but they do sell them. Oh, there's my husband. It must be 3:15 because that's when he calls me. Let me grab this. Hello. Hi, hold on 1 second. It's Dane. Hold on. Alrighty, I'm back. I just wanted to take that call. He can only call like once a day. He calls after his lunch and before he goes back up into the office. So just to say hello and how are things. And anyway, while I was talking on the phone, I brushed this with a little bit of milk. I did not brush this part. If I have to, I'll crimp a little bit of aluminum foil thin, go boop, 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 around so it stops browning. But I took my hot cookie sheet out of the oven now, and now I'm going to place this on it to give that bottom crust a chance to bake. It's usually not a problem, but you know, I had these apples and I'm getting the flour off the bottom. And I made sure that the slits were like that. I'm going to put this over here and then get it in the oven. Okay, well, that's it. Let's just get this going. I would say my pies take 45 minutes, maybe. You just keep checking them. And I also like it on a cookie sheet in case it does bubble over. It's not going to go in the bottom of your oven and you'll have smoke and all that jazz. So, okay, see you in a minute. Well, actually in 45 minutes. By the way, use your bench scraper It works so much better than using a white or a wet cloth to get all this up. That was another reason I didn't like it. And then you can just throw it away like that. Okay, it smells delicious in here, and it's been about 35 minutes. I did start it at 400 when I put that cookie sheet in. Then I put the pie on top, put it in, immediately went to 350. So I'm ready to check it because I smell it. So, oh, jeepers. Oh, it looks nice. Nice color here. Let me get my other mitt. Let's bring it out a little further. Like that. Oh, can you see it? Looks nice, huh? I do like to check knife the apples and make sure that they're soft all the way down, and they are. Because like I said, some people cook their apples ahead of time. I do not. This knife is going straight down. It's done. I like the way it's browned. It's finished. Let's get it out of here like this. I'll just show you. Whoa, don't drop it now, girl. That'd be bad. I'll get this in a second. Let me turn it off. I just want you to see it like this. So there, oh, you hear it? I don't know if you can hear it or not. Da 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 da. Looks good, huh? So, all right. Happy apple pie. I'll bring it over here and then do the what they call the money shot, right? Turn it off. Yay! Now, who's gonna eat this with me? Seriously, I could eat a piece of this every single day, if not two. But they won't eat any. I guess I'll have to invite a girlfriend over.